Hey guys, welcome to Oracle Aura, a space to absorb information for your soul's vibration, where we discuss all things metaphysical, spiritual, and holistic methods of self-improvement. Today, we are going to get down to the nitty-gritty talking about money and our mindset around money. Money can get a bad rap in the spiritual community. So many times we tell ourselves stories about why we don't need that much money, or why money is bad, or why people with money are bad. And a lot of the times that can just keep us stuck in this cycle of not having enough. And honestly, I don't think any of us are meant to live our lives that way. I think we are all deserving of abundance. I think we're all deserving of being able to live our lives in a flow that feels good and feels easy. And that's why today I have invited our guest, Victoria Welsh, to discuss money mindset. Victoria Welsh is a wealth consciousness coach and intuitive business mentor. She helps women understand money on a soul level and deepen their connection to money so that they prosper in life and business. She's a Reiki practitioner and energy healer, the CEO of the Fierce Feminine brand, and an international best-selling author. I met Victoria at a cacao ceremony that I was hosting in Indian Rocks Beach, and honestly, we just vibed right away. And I knew this woman had something to teach me, so I asked her to come on the podcast. And like I said, we got down to the nitty-gritty, talking all about money, money mindset, our beliefs around money. And I really, 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 truly believe this conversation is going to help a lot of people. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode of Oracle Aura with Victoria Welsh. Hi, Victoria. How are you?
I am so wonderful, Jada. How are you today?
I'm good. I am so excited to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, by the way.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. I'm excited to be here. Really excited.
So, today I brought you on to chat about money mindset. And in the spiritual community, it almost seems that this is just starting to make an appearance, because in the coaching industry, it's been out there, getting
Hmm.
your money mindset right. But in the spiritual community, there's all of these misconceptions about money,
Yeah.
and a lot of people thinking, money is bad, money is evil, this and that. So I guess first, I just want to kind of clear the air about those kind of concepts. So what do you have to say to those people who are feeling kind of like icky about money?
Picky about money. Okay, so first I would like to just tell a little bit of like my background, if you don't
Okay.
mind, to
Yeah,
preface this whole
totally.
thing. So I was, before I had my spiritual awakening in 2012, I was very money driven, money of the world driven, ego maniacally driven. I drove a Mercedes. I wore the best, Jimmy Choo high heel shoes. I owned restaurants. I bought houses. I was a nurse full time. I had multiple streams of income. And my partner and I, we had been together for 9 years, and we owned a couple of restaurants. We owned a couple of houses, and money was always flowing into me, but it never stayed with me. As much as came in, went back out. And
Mm,
I didn't understand this concept at the time. Like, I'm making so much money. Where's the money going? Until I understood money on a spiritual level, and is that I didn't have any respect for money, and money is just an energy. And I was not respecting that energy. It was more out of the ego, and I had to have, it was not from a place of desire. It was from a place of need. I need to have this. I need to have that. I need to have this. And need and desire are on two different spectrums. And so when I had my awakening in 2012, I was reading all the spiritual books and diving deep into meditation and yoga and Deepak Chopra and all of the stuff, all of the stuff. And
yeah.
I actually went to the exact other end of the spectrum. I gave up a whole bunch of my belongings. I became like the barefoot hippie. I was detached from everything. I was just like, money doesn't make you, happiness does. You got to find your spiritual path. I mean, so much so that the electricity got cut off in my house. I was going into foreclosure on my home, and I just
Wow.
was like, the universe will take care of everything. I didn't understand all the laws of the universe nor the law of attraction at the time. I had just been in my beginning stages of understanding it, and I just thought I could sit back and ask, and I would receive everything that I desired. And that is not the case. Aligned action is a huge part of the law of attraction. And my family actually had an intervention on me because I had gone from this egomaniacal space of owning all these things, and then my partner and I separated, and we separated assets, and um I ended up with the house and the Mercedes, and then the car got taken, and then the house was getting taken, and I just was not working. I was not doing anything. Wanted I wanted to live in a commune. That's all I wanted to do, and
Wow. Like one
explore.
end of the spectrum to the complete opposite.
Complete opposite. I just wanted to explore spirituality. I want to explore my spirituality. I wanted to find my I am. I was just on this quest. But yes, complete opposite end of the spectrum, and my house did get foreclosed on, and my car did get taken, and I did go into bankruptcy. Um, and
Wow.
so the truth of the matter is, living in this 3D reality, there is a need for money to pay expenses, okay? And there is also desires of the heart for money. So as I started diving into the coaching industry and everyone was talking about money mindset, I hadn't even heard it on my spiritual quest. I really hadn't even, I had heard about abundance, but I had not
Mm,
heard about, and I had grasped the idea of tapping into the frequency of abundance and how, we are of all things, and everything is of us, and there's abundance all around us. So I had grasped that concept, but I hadn't put two and two together. Like, I hadn't put it together in relation to money.
I
And then
see.
I get into the coaching community, and everyone's talking money mindset, money mindset. I'm like, what in the hell is this? Like, what are they talking? What? Okay, let me get into this. And so I took a couple of courses on money mindset, and I would say that I shifted a little bit. I started becoming a better steward of my money. I started to look at money because I was a money avoider. If you know any of the archetypes of uh, not thinking grow rich, oh my goodness, I'm lost right now. Of millionaire, the millionaire mind intensive
Oh,
with T. Harv Eckert. Um, he talks about the archetypes of money, and you can be an avoider, a spender, a hoarder. I was a spender and an avoider.
mm,
And so I began to grasp that money was an energy. It was it had an energy to it, and that the better steward you were with money, the more money stayed with you. Because as I stated, when I was, living the wealthy lifestyle, or what I thought at the time in my ego was the wealthy lifestyle, the rich and famous stuff, right?
yeah.
When I was living that lifestyle, money did not stay with me. It didn't matter how much we were making, and we were making 25, 35K a month, and it didn't matter. We never had extra money
Wow.
ever. We were spending it as quick as it came in. And so, after finding money mindset work, I then found the spiritual side of money, which is wealth consciousness. So, and I separate the two when I teach in my teaching. Money mindset is your blueprint that you were imprinted with. from the subconscious programming of what you mirror the adults around you, what you visually see, what you hear, and what you experience, your own experiences with money. So if your parents struggled and they thought about money a lot, then money would be a source of contention in your life when you grow up. It's already imprinted in you because our subconscious programming is imprinted by the time we're 8 years old. And this includes money imprints.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I did know like about our attachment styles up until we're about 7 or 8, but I never thought about it like that with money.
Yes. And so what you witness, what you visually see, what you hear, what your experience is, and then what you then mirror money. Um, and so I realized as I was digging deeper into my money mindset that I had so many of the same style, the same archetypes, the same experiences that my parents did. And the other imprinting that happens, the blueprinting that happens, is the things that you constantly hear people say about money. So, money doesn't grow on trees, or takes a lot of work to make money. Or one of the things I was always told, I grew up in blue collar family, and it was, that stuff's not for you. That's for rich people.
Mm.
So, all of the 401, I'm sorry, not 401ks, investments and stocks, that wasn't for blue collar people. That was for only the wealthy, the rich and famous. My father, however, one of my, this is good and bad money imprints. Okay. So one of my blueprints, though, one of my good blueprints happened to be my father was a steel mill worker. And my father was also a golfer. He loved to golf. And although he worked for a, hour to hour paycheck, and he, worked, my parents lived paycheck to paycheck. Although that was the case, my father joined a country club when they had some, I don't know, special going on in the 1970s, where they were opening it up to blue collar workers, because mostly this country club was full of just the wealthy upper echelon of
Mm.
Maryland. We grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. And so my dad had joined this when there was some sort of special going on for blue collar workers that they were opening up. And he took pride in his membership at the country club. But my father never, ever, ever felt less than at the country club. Ever. He walked through that place, owned that place, owned it like, I mean, walked through like he owned it. He played golf with the upper echelon of Maryland, and he didn't treat them any differently. He didn't look at them any differently. He would say all the time, I would kick their butts and take their money in golf all the time. Like, he just like, he never felt less than. And so even though I had all of these awful money stories, I never felt less than around wealthy people. I always
Mm.
felt like I belonged. I should be wealthy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like it was my birthright. Like I was just born into the wrong family. They just didn't have money. Like I was just born into a poor family. And so I'm sorry, I should say broke. The broke is the, never, never, never poor. They can be broke at the time, but never poor. Um, so my I had been doing money mindset work, and then I discovered wealth consciousness. And wealth consciousness is the frequency of abundance. It's the frequency of your birthright. It is the alignment with God source creator as the all providing source of supply. Supply just happens to be money during this time. In other centuries, it was silk and spices. During this time and age, the currency just happens to be money. And if we tune in and tap into this all providing source, is infinite prosperity, and we align with that, then abundance is our birthright. We're not separate from it. And this is how the whole spiritual community that talked about, you should do these things for free, or money is icky, or that I moved away from that really quick when I aligned with these concepts of wealth consciousness.
I see. So it's interesting also to hear you say that, money is the supply in this day and age, whereas before in other times it was silk and spices and things like that. Because a lot of people might hear that and say, oh, well, like money makes people do awful things. But back then, like people did awful things for spices and silk and
And
things like that. So, but
yeah,
they also can do equally great things
do you know what
with
I would? Yeah, yes. And do you know what I would say to that? I'd say that that is a fallacy, and the truth is, lack of money makes people do awful things.
mm, so true.
Yeah, it's not money that makes people do awful things. It's the lack of money. And when people feel lack, or they operate from a poverty consciousness, a lack mindset, they're not tapped in to the fact that that abundance is their birthright, and that this all providing source of infinite prosperity is not separate from them, that that source is individualized as you, the reality of you.
Nice. Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Source energy is within all of us.
Yes.
So, if someone has, what are some of the characteristics of a lack mindset? Like, how could someone know that they're in a lack mindset?
Um, Lack mindset has to do with believing that your only source of income is your only source of supply. Let's go with supply. Your only source of supply being money, your only source of supply is the one you currently see. Lack mindset says that I live my life based off of what I see in my bank account right now. Um, Lack mindset is operating from your current reality and not tuning into the reality you get to create. Lack mindset is saying, I can't afford that. That's any money objection is a lack mindset, because when you tap into the infinite supply, you can afford anything when you align with it. You can manifest anything that is your desire when you align with it.
I love that. Um, so just listening to this, like there are all these things that come up in me that say, well, what if there is like what's the line between saying I can't afford that, but I want to be able to afford that and I can't afford that? Like how do you not overextend yourself and retain that respect for money? Do you get what I'm saying? Like if the money doesn't at least seem to be coming in at that time and say you want to, sign up for a program or get yourself a car or something like that, how can you from that place align with that abundance?
Yeah.
And do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. So, okay, so there's a couple of steps here. So, the first is really you have to be in a space of knowing full on belief. Okay, so lack mindset means that I open up my bank account, I look at my bank account, I'm like, oh my God, there's only $2,000 in there, but rent is coming up and the bills are coming up and this is coming up. But I really want to buy this course because I know this course is going to expand me. And I'm saying this from my own experience. Okay. I really wanted to hire this coach and get in her mastermind, but I looked at my bank account, was like, oh, I can't do this mastermind. The mastermind was like $2,222. Like, oh my gosh, I can't. If I do it, it was going to leave me $500 in my account. I wouldn't have had enough for rent, all this stuff.
Mm.
Okay. And so I sat with it. I sat on it for a couple of days. Is this truly a want? A need? Do I feel like am I doing it from a space of lack? Like I have to be in her container because I'm having FOMO? Or is it my desire? Can I not stop thinking about it? Is it a desire because I know, my soul knows it. Your desire comes from your soul. I desire this because it's going to expand me into the next level. I'm going to learn something that is going to expand my consciousness and take me to the next level and the next level. And so I sat on it for a few days and I was like, okay, I am doing this. Here we go. I am the all provide me. I am unfailing abundance. I am this all providing source of infinite prosperity. It's realized as me. Source energy is within me. So when I have a desire, I command the universe to rise up and meet me. But you have to go first. Here's where the aligned action comes in. You have to show faith and go first.
Mm.
If you waver in your faith, you are delaying everything from showing up to you. You have to have full on faith that when I make this choice, I make this decision, I decide. It's a decision, it's with clarity and confidence. I decide that this is how things are going to go. And because I decided it, and because I am all source energy, the universe has to bend to meet me. And so I sit back and say, now show me the money. Now show me the money. Where is it going to come from? Because I just did something to expand myself. It was a deep desire. I tapped in and tuned in, and I know it was a desire and not coming from a space of lack. Like, oh God, am I missing out? Am I going to, is there FOMO attached to this? No, it was, I'm going to expand with this. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this. Even if this is with a car, even if this is with a purse, a Louis Vuitton purse that makes you feel expansive, that makes you feel more luxurious. You get to have it. You get to expand. And then you get to say, okay, now show me, rise up to meet me. And not 2 hours after I did the investment and looked back at my account, I had to, now my old paradigm, I would have fallen into fear right away. I would have been like, oh my God, my stomach hurt. Oh my God. But I know not to fall into fear, because the minute I fall into fear, I am blocking the receiving. So I have to, if I can't stay in gratitude, I have to go to neutrality. I just stay neutral. I decided, I made a choice, I made a decision that was of my highest good. Now the universe is going to show me. So I just sat and I was like, okay, show me, with zero anxiety, with zero attachment, with zero of when or how it's going to show up, zero. And 1 hour later, someone reached out to me to pay me in full double what I just paid for my mastermind.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So you did have like, how do I say this? Like you had kind of like built this framework for how the money could come to you, but you weren't like pushing it or forcing it, or like going out there and being like, hey, somebody sign up for my program. You kind of just built that framework, took that leap, and then that person came to you
Yes.
all in divine timing.
Yeah. I had already had the offers out there. I had the offers out, but I didn't like say, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to join this, and then I'm going to put offers out. That's a lack mindset. I would have
Okay.
never done it that way. I had the offers out there. I looked at my bank account. I'd had the offers out there for probably 2 days or 3 days. And there were people interested, but no one had bid, because it was a mastermind of my own. And so, it's a higher ticket item, and no one had like really, bid yet. And so I'd had it out there, and I just said, I don't know how it's going to come to me. I don't know how, but something's going to happen, and this money's going to return so I can pay my rent.
Yeah. And then it just
And since
happened.
then, it happened. It happened within an hour. And since
Wow.
then, the expansion has been triple. I've literally tripled that in the first week of January. I made more than I made in November and December combined,
Wow.
because I had done this expansion, like created expansion. Money is an expander, just like time is an expander. Money is an expander. Money's an energy. It is an expander, just as time is an expander. If you've ever experienced, um, like, say for instance, oh gosh, I forget the show. there's a show, like a makeover show where
Mm.
they,
I love those.
yeah, where they give them a budget. They give them $200 and say, now go overdo this room for just $200.
Oh.
Somehow, some way, they remake the room for $200. But if you didn't give them a budget, they would have spent $1,000 to do that room,
Right,
right?
right.
Money is an expander. Same with time. Have you ever been waiting for results for something and it feels like forever to get that
Mhm.
call or get those results? Yet you go spend an entire day with somebody that you love and the time goes by like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, time and money are expanders. And so we have to trust. It's more about building that muscle of trust and faith in and remembering your own divinity, remembering that you are source energy and that source energy is not separate from you. And that when you decide, you now have created a ripple in the quantum field that the universe has to rise to meet you. But it's in that certainty of decision. And the minute you waver on it, the minute you're wobbly in your energy, you have now cut off the quantum, the universe from sending you. This happened to me back in September.
Mhm.
You- I had taken the whole month of August off to spend time with my grandbaby. And if anyone knows my story from last year, I had a very rough year. I lost my home. I lost my mom. 3 weeks later, I lost my home and I lost all my possessions to a flood that mowed and mildewed my entire house.
Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was like, thank you, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I manifested this cutest little house on the beach. I
Nice.
didn't have any insurance, so I had no way to replace all my things. I had taken time off because my mom had died and I was grieving. I had no idea where money was coming from. But my son's school put us up in an Airbnb. Like my son's school came together and put us up in an Airbnb because
Wow.
I didn't even have money to put us up in an Airbnb. After that happened, the coaching community came together. I literally got donations that were more than what I was bringing in monthly for 3 months in a row. For three
Wow.
months in a row. And then when I was, I then I manifested this cute little place on the beach, on Indian Rock Beach, literally right on Golf Boulevard.
Wow.
Yes. And I was able to go to the beach every single day for 8 months, every single day
Oh,
and
so
heal.
healing.
Yes. And I was able to heal. And in that time, after I had made a comeback and I had run a course, but then my grandbaby was coming to Florida for 3 weeks, and I thought, I'm going to take off the whole time she's here. I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I'm going to take off. And so I took off to enjoy my time with her. And I wasn't attached to money. I was attached to experiences. I was attached to abundance. I was attached to, like, every day I would just tune in and tap into the abundance of waves, the abundance of laughter from her, the abundance of gratitude I felt. Like I would just tune into abundance every day. And I just kept saying, I have no idea, but I had written myself a check for $15,000 and put it on my refrigerator. I wasn't working. Like, I don't know how I'm going to manifest $15,000, but I am. I have no idea how I am, but I am. And you're not going to believe this story. And I received a piece of mail at my P.O. box. So it had taken a while to get there. It was like 3 weeks late, because it had come from my old address where I had lost my house and then to my P.O. box.
Mhm.
And it was September. My grandbaby had just gone back home. And I received this letter that says, Dear Victoria, we mailed a $10,119 check to your bankruptcy attorney for blah, 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 blah. When my car had been repossessed in 2013, the bank had overcharged a bunch of charges, and I was involved in a class action lawsuit
Wow.
that I had no clue I was receiving this money. It came from nowhere.
Wow.
Literally nowhere. $10,119. And then I ran a course. I made $15,000.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So that actually makes me think of the first time I watched The Secret, the movie The Secret. I saw that little anecdote about instead of focusing on how many bills you were getting to say to yourself, I receive checks in the mail, I receive checks in the mail.
Yes.
And, I thought, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to try this. And lo and behold, I received a $200 check in the mail from Geico because they'd messed something up with the billing after a car accident that I was in. And it was
Doesn't it?
just completely out of nowhere.
Random.
I received a check in the mail.
Random. This is
Yeah.
why I when in my courses and when I teach money, you have got to detach. We've been so ingrained to look at our bank account. We've been so ingrained to look at our income. We've been so ingrained to look at our history to predict our future. Okay, this is not how we play in the quantum. This is not how life goes in the quantum. All possibilities already exist in the quantum field, in the field of potentiality. All things already exist. And it's truly about this work of this remembering your divinity and aligning with the source energy within you, your own divinity, remembering you're not separate from it. And that when you
Mhm.
make these decisions like this, like decide with certainty, the universe will rise to meet you. Now, once it does, you have to lock that in as there's my evidence. So that each and every time you begin to waver again, you go back to your evidence. Oh, I already have evidence that this works. I already have evidence that this works. Like why am I sitting in fear? Why am I looking at my bank account? Who cares what my bank account says? I already have evidence that this works. And here's what I would ask you and ask every single one of your listeners. Isn't it true that every single time, I don't care how much money you have in your bank account right now, when something comes due, when rent is due, or when you have to make your car payment, somehow, some way, it always works out.
Mm. That is true. Like, and the only time it doesn't, like the only time it's not there is when I keep looking at my bank account and saying, there's not enough in there. I think I'm going to be late on this. It's like as soon as I declare I think I'm going to be late,
Yes.
then the universe is like, your wish is my command. And then,
Exactly.
and then it's
Exactly.
late.
Exactly. You created that reality. You created it. So if you get to create that reality, think of the other reality you get to create. I declared January 1st, I was like, no more leaning back. And I was just, because of my year last year, I was okay, a healing and not making a lot of, just, I was good. I was just making enough. I had always said, like, to the universe, thank you. Thank you that I'm taken care of. Thank you that I'm taken care of. I am done being taken care of. I'm ready to live luxuriously.
Mm,
And when I made that declaration, I actually made that declaration in no, did I read November? I ran my course, the money course in November. Yeah. So I made that declaration actually in November. And come December, I manifested a new home with a big yard and a built-in pool with a beautiful kitchen. Like I manifested this new space after I made that declaration. Like no more playing small. I'm done playing small. And then I went and took the beginning of January, I was like, I'm making moves. I'm making moves. I'm making money moves. I call them money moves because again, money is just the supply. It could be apples. It could be avocados. It could be, oranges. It doesn't matter. Like money is just the supply that we use. I made a declaration, like no more playing, The supply is going to be an overflow for me. And literally this morning, and now because I'm a good steward of money, I wake up every single morning. I open up my bank account and I look at it and I say thank you to money. Even the money that left me, I say thank you. The money that's come in, I say thank you so much for coming. To the money that's left, I say thank you for going elsewhere. I know you're always in flow. Thank you.
Mm. And it's interesting to hear you say that because when I did my yoga teacher training, I feel like I talk about my yoga teacher training in every single episode, but it was just
I
such
love
like
it.
an impactful moment in my life, an impactful month in my life. It's kind of like what you were saying, how time is, relative based on what you're experiencing.
Yeah.
I was having so many new experiences within that month felt like a year in retrospect.
Yes.
But
Yes.
whenever I would go into the shops in Rishikesh, the shop owners would kiss their hand and and put it to a picture of a goddess that was hanging in the store. And after I paid them for whatever I was getting, they would kiss the money, thank the goddess, and
Yep.
put the money in the drawer.
Yes.
So it was like they were in that constant flow of gratitude for money.
Yes.
And I think it can be really difficult to whenever, because you're not the first person I've heard say this about being thankful for money also that you've spent,
Yes.
but it can be really hard sometimes whenever you're, you know, parting with this money that you've worked so hard for. So how do you kind of break that attachment to money whenever you're going to pay for something? Is it all in trusting that more is going to come back to you?
Well, it's in that also, but also here's what I teach in my courses. Like I love shifting this. This is one of the things I love shifting. So when you pay your electric bill, say thank you that I didn't have to run lines outside of my house or cook on a fire outside or I have air conditioning and I'm not sweating to death in the summer or think of the things that people had to go through to put up electrical lines.
For
Think of the
real.
things that people have to go through like to run electricity, to run all the wires in the house. I thank God every time I pay that bill that I wasn't the one that had to do that. Like, right? Like,
That is some great perspective because honestly, I've never thought about that. Like, whenever I first moved out, um, God, in like 2011, when I first moved out of my parents' house, 2011, 2012, sometime around then, I never felt that like, ugh, I have to pay this much to the electric company. It was kind of like, cool. Like, I made enough to pay my electric bill. That's pretty
yes.
great? But that's like a whole nother level of gratitude. Like, I didn't have to put up the freaking power lines. Dope.
Right. 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 Same with your phone bill. I mean, you know, okay, I'm going to age myself here, but I'm 48 and I remember having to speak on a phone that was wired to the wall that my father if I was sneaking talking to a boy late at night because we only had one phone in the house that if my father woke up and heard me hiding under the kitchen counter having a conversation he would literally pull the phone out of the wall and throw it out in the back door. He did it so many times.
Oh my
I
God.
know. Like, I have so much gratitude for my cell phone. So much. But it also comes from a space of like, just think of when you were a kid and you didn't have access to a cell phone, but you saw all these people around you and you're like, I wanted a cell phone so bad. Once we get something, we diminish our gratitude for it. We have to remember what it felt like to first. I just got the iPhone 12. Oh my God, I have so much respect and love for my phone because I had the iPhone 8. I mean, I have so much
Yeah, that's a big
gratitude.
jump.
Yeah. I'm like, this camera, oh my God, it's so clear. Like, I can take portrait mode from the front. Like, what? Like, what is happening here? I
Oh
have
my
so much
gosh.
gratitude for my phone. I pay my phone bill with so much love and gratitude. Like, you have to go back to the space of what it was like when you first got the thing.
Mm,
This includes
absolutely.
your
Like,
job too. When you're in a space that you're no longer aligned with your job, in order to manifest the next great thing, you have to remember what it felt like to first say yes to that opportunity that you're in.
So true. Because
Yeah.
it's so easy to get in that rut of, especially with this uh common messaging that we hear in like pop culture and on social media with memes and everything, like Mondays suck and I hate my job, I hate going to work. But like, wouldn't you dislike it more to not have a job, you
Yes.
know? And if you are trying to manifest that next opportunity, be the very, very best that you can at that job you're doing now. Like,
Yes.
there's a book called Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi.
Yes.
And in the beginning, he tells a little story about this kid who he worked in like a little convenience store and he did the very best he could every single day. And his boss was so confused. He was like, "Why do you do all this? I only pay you minimum wage." And he just expressed that he wanted to do the best he could do. And that little boy is Paul Mitchell. And now he's like,
Wow.
right,
Wow.
running
Yeah.
these like multi-million dollar, like probably billion-dollar
Industries. Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Wow.
yeah, so it's really just about doing the best you can. Like right now, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I am so set on just helping people find inner peace. That
Hmm.
is what I know I'm here to do.
Yes.
And as far as making that my living, I've, definitely been learning the hard way.
Yes.
But sometimes that's, like, what you gotta do. You gotta kinda just, like, throw spaghetti at the wall until you're like, "Okay, maybe I need to get a coach."
Yeah,
And,
yeah. It's true
but
though. It's true
yeah,
because I threw spaghetti at the wall for so like what am I supposed to do? I know what I know I'm really good at activating people. I know I'm really good at empowering people. I know I'm really good at this stuff. Like you kind of know your own stuff, but then you're like, how do I monetize this? How do I do this in a world that it feels good to me, but I also get paid for my gifts? And we get to get paid for our gifts. Like all these spiritual people that are suffering, you get to get paid really well for your gifts.
absolutely. So, like, what do you so this feeling constantly comes up for me. I'm not even gonna tiptoe around it like a broad general question. I'm just gonna let everybody know this is coming from me.
Yeah.
Whenever I try to charge for my services, there's something in me that wants me to make it so that I, in my current position, would be able to afford this program.
Hmm.
So, like, because I guess there's this part of me that just thinks, well, I want to make this accessible to everybody.
Hmm.
Where do you find that balance? Do you find that balance in the free content that you're giving?
Hmm. So
Or,
that's a worthiness issue. That has to do
okay,
with worthiness. That has to do with money worthiness. That's a money worthiness block. So here's what I will say to that. I give so much value in my community, so much. And we should always be giving value. We should, whether it's free, content, memes, posts, you don't have to do a Facebook Live every day. Do one nearly every single day, but you don't have to do one every. I do what feels aligned and feels good to me. If it don't feel good, I don't do it. I was very, transparent with you before this interview. And I said, I've been doing some inner child work this week and integrating, and inner child work is not easy stuff. Like you are moving and shifting energetic fields, energy levels, like you are, and it takes time to integrate. I didn't feel good last night, so I didn't go live. And I feel zero guilt around it because you know why? Self-care is the best care. And I just
yeah.
sat back and took care of myself last night. This morning, I wasn't feeling so aligned, but I was like, you know what? Let me take a shower because truthfully, I teeter between my word is my law and self care. Like, do I honor myself first or do I honor my word? Like, what do I do? And it just depends on where I am. The other night, I had a course to teach and I just moved the call and it felt better for me. I wasn't going to cancel the call because my word is my law, but I moved the call and was like, let me move it a little bit later. And I felt good enough to show up later. But this whole money worthiness thing, the reason you are particularly blocked in this, and a lot of people are, especially a lot of new coaches that go out there, And I'm just going to be very honest with you, since you're being very honest about this. It's because you haven't invested and expanded yourself past your comfort zone.
Mm.
So when you invest past your own comfort zone, you then are like, oh, I did it, so other people can do it.
You know what though? I signed up for this coaching program at the beginning of last year, and I'm not gonna, say which program it was,
Uh-huh.
but I invested, I want to say $2,400.
Mm.
And this was over the course of 12 months, so I did do it in payments, but I was very much in this place of like I just wanted to go all in to coaching, and I didn't have a bridge job. I kind of was just like uh you know just winging it.
Right.
And I was trying to figure out how to make money with my coaching business while paying for this, and it almost made me feel kind of, well, okay, the coaching program was completely online, completely self-guided. There
Oh,
was a Facebook group, but there was no, like, one-on-one, and it really made me realize that I need that one-on-one
yes.
accountability,
Yes.
and especially if I'm investing that much, so it almost made me feel kind of, like, bitter
Yes.
about spending that much because I was like, "Oh my." I did learn a lot of valuable information, and I think maybe paired with something else where someone is holding me accountable, it could be a great, amazingly useful tool, and I know it's been a useful tool for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for me, it just made me feel bitter, and it almost made me feel like I don't wanna do that to anybody else.
Okay, so can I shift that mindset for you?
Yeah, please
Okay,
do.
so drop the bitter because you gained knowledge. And if you have to spend $10,000 to expand your knowledge, I mean, look at what we pay for degrees. Look at what we pay to
Right,
go to college. You know what I mean?
right.
So the part that you can learn from this, which is beautiful, because contrast shows up in our life to show us what we do not desire. The beauty of this is that in your own coaching business going forward, you desire to do live group coaching calls, not digital programs. And the other part of it is that's how you learn also. So, two beautiful things you took away from this, along with all of the knowledge, is well worth $2,400.
That's true. Like,
Yeah.
whenever thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, putting it in retrospect to college
Yeah.
is a really great way to look at it because, man, whenever I look at all the people my age who are, like, up to their eyeballs in student debt or have, like, business degrees and are working as, like, hostesses at restaurants, it makes me like, "Wow." Like, I did start going to college, and then I just kind of, like, I've always been a really strong follower of my intuition. If my intuition is pulling me, I cannot ignore it.
I love that.
And yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't make myself do it. And, that is a program that provided me with a lot of information, a lot of insight as to how I want to do things. And I'm not in any debt from it. I paid it as
Yeah.
I went.
There you go. That's another thing.
So,
Well, the other thing is also a lot of people, you mentioned the word debt, and I love to shift people on debt. You have to begin to look at debt. We have to begin to look at debt as an extension of the universe trust in us,
mm.
because it's just, we can always, when we align with this knowing of who we are and how powerful we are as creators and calling in money, again, so many people are stuck on what's currently in front of them or what their past has been dealing with money. But we are reality benders. You get to shift your reality. And debt is just a beautiful way of saying the universe or these creditors trust me so much that they've given me an extension of credit. I mean, it came out of the blue. It's another way that you get money or can manifest money to you or manifest supply to you without having to do anything.
So true. Like,
Yeah.
so let's see, not this last summer, but the summer before, I went to teach yoga on a retreat. And when I came back, my VW Bug, which also had no AC, was full of mold. Like this like green mold, like the whole thing,
Oh
like
man.
completely full of mold. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna trade it in and get a car because I had been wanting a car with AC before that. And also not a car that was manual because that Bug was manual and I learned how to drive manual and I was like, "Okay, I super appreciate automatic cars now." But, so when I came back, I was like, "I don't know how I'm gonna get, an automatic car or how I'm gonna get a new car with AC, but I'm gonna do it." And so I talked to my dad, and my dad has always been super, super supportive of me. He helped me with the down payment, and I was able to secure a car loan, which I was, like,
Wow.
honestly
Wow.
pretty surprised about. Like, my credit is okay, but it's not amazing right
Right.
now. And I was just like, "Wow, okay, cool." And now, kind of like what you were saying about, your power bill and your phone bill and all that. I'll have these moments where it's super freaking hot outside and I get in my car and I blast the AC and I'm like, "Thank you, AC gods."
Yes, yes, yes. And think though, I mean, really, look at all the gratitude you can have for that car. Like, I have a used car because I gave my daughter my car and because she crashed her car. So I gave my daughter my car. I was without a car for 8 months in Florida and just taking Ubers everywhere, or my son would bike to school and I didn't even care. So when I got my car and it was used, I was in so much gratitude. I was able to pay cash for her. I gave her a name. I talked to her
Yes.
all the time. Like I live my life through gratitude. I mean, my motto, and I literally say it on every single Facebook Live is, wake up with an attitude of gratitude. Say 5 things you're grateful for
Mm,
the second your feet hit the floor in the morning.
love
Because
that.
I shifted my life. I mean, it would take us hours to go through who I was before this shift in my life. But when I lived in my ego, as I started out talking, I was an egomaniacal, typical Leo who had not done any inner work.
Mm,
I was not a kind woman. I was not a kind person. And it was meditation and gratitude that changed my life. And I literally live from the frequency of love now. Everything is through the frequency of love or above. Everything.
that is beautiful that you say that. Just on a little side note, there was a friend of many people in the Kava community here in St. Pete or the Bula community in Madeira Beach. And his name was Chris. And he was just such a ray of sunshine. And he left this earthly plane at the beginning of January.
Mm,
But what the first thing he ever said to me, like in conversation, was that he said,
yeah.
"Cars don't matter." He said, "Houses and all that doesn't matter. Love is all there is. Everything is
Yes.
love. I'm love,
Everything.
you're love, we're all love." And just being around him, you could feel that energy.
Yeah.
And it's really, really beautiful to hear you say
And
that
guess
because
what? Money is love. Money is love made manifest because when I pay you for your service, I am showing you appreciation and love. When I pay
wow.
for my bills, I'm paying it in appreciation and love. Money is love made manifest.
Yes. And honestly, I feel like it can go either way. It's really like this neutral tool that we give meaning to, right?
Yes,
So, like,
yes,
it can be in that vibration. It can be, I choose to say that money is love. I choose to believe that money is love. When I pay you for your service, I am
yes,
saying, "Hey, I love you. Thank you for your
yes.
service."
And that's how I look at
Or,
money. Money is love. Money is
yes,
absolute love.
or we can be in that mindset of like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then money is like, ugh, back to us and doesn't wanna come to us. So it's
It
really
reflects it back to you. And it's an
yeah.
energy, it's a frequency. It reflects back to you. And the reason I was so broke, even though I was making 25, $35,000 a month back in, the early 2000s, because I had a broke mindset.
Mm.
That's why I was so broke. Money is an expander. It stays with you when you love it, when you appreciate it, when you're a good steward of your money. When you're not, it's gone. You have to think of money as like being in a relationship almost. Like, would your partner stick with you if you treated your partner the way you treat money?
Mm, I don't know.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
I'm like so I actually just recorded an episode recently, with an Ayurvedic doctor,
Mm,
and she was talking about the doshas and which are these kind of like energies that we
yes.
have in our bodies. And she was talking about vatas for people who are more like air energy and how they get money very quickly and they release money very quickly. And I was like, wow, can you stop calling me out?
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's so how do you learn to kind of like respect your money more, I guess? Does it all come back to gratitude?
So it comes to gratitude, but it also, you have to stop avoiding your money.
Mm,
You have to stop avoiding money. Like, you respect money when number one is gratitude. Number one is always gratitude. And gratitude I equate with love. Like, gratitude, love. When if I have gratitude for something, I'm in appreciation of it, I'm in thankfulness of it, I'm in love. Um, for that thing, for that, situation.
mhm.
And practice gratitude and stop avoiding your money. This means your bills also. You have to, how much do I have coming in every week, every month, every year? How much do I have going out every day, every week, every month, every year? Like, what are my goals? Am I creating money goals that are allowing me to expand? And like, so many people are dead set on their income and just their job, but there are so many ways money can come to you, but you're blocking those ways by being like just literal in your thinking. You
Right,
have
by
to,
thinking you have to know the how. Can I
yes,
tell you something so amazing?
yes.
So, my phone just, like, popped up with a text message, and me being ADD, I definitely checked it. And someone texted me about a gig this weekend to go make some money.
No way. Wow. Look at that. See, money's an
Yeah.
expander. Look at that. Look at
Wow, literally even just, like, talking to you, Victoria, I can
that. You
feel my,
manifest the
like,
money.
vibration, like, shifting. This is amazing.
Yes.
So,
I
is
love
there
that.
anything else that you wanna add today? Anything else you wanna leave our listeners with?
I would just remind you that conditions don't exist. We create the conditions. Conditions are an illusion. We create the conditions. If you say you're poor or you're broke, you're always going to be poor and broke. If you say you're abundant and wealthy, it will make its way to you. You create the conditions of your life. You literally create your reality. And I know this from personal experience. I am the walking, talking embodiment of this. I went
Mm.
from a six-figure cushy nursing job, quitting my job and opening my business, struggling every month. I could barely make ends meet. February of last year, I had to borrow money to pay my rent. And then I started diving into wealth consciousness. I had done the money mindset, but it hadn't shifted me at my cellular level. And then I dove into wealth consciousness work. When I dove into the wealth consciousness work, that's when I had the shift in my frequency. And that's when I realized I was creating the conditions that were making me constantly broke by the words
Mm.
I used, by the things I thought, by the things I said, by the way I held fear in my body. We have these money traumas that we have to heal because this is a whole nother day, a whole nother topic. Our inner child controls a lot of our wealth, and our
Yes.
inner child shows up. Yeah, when we feel that fear, that's your inner child showing up. Abandonment issues, money abandonment issues. These
Mm.
are inner child showing up. So you have to
Yeah.
heal your money heal your money traumas, do the money mindset work, and shift on your frequency of your divinity, reminding yourself you are source energy. You're creating the conditions, you are creating them. As source energy, you create your reality.
Absolutely. Like, that makes me think of an Abraham Hicks quote. What is it? You are not manifesting. You are creating the environment which allows the manifestation.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. You're creating the environment. And so you
Yes.
have to ask yourself, what do I desire? Not what do I need? Don't, that's a lack mindset. Operate
Hmm.
from your desires.
Love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Victoria. This has been a very enlightening conversation.
You're so welcome, Jada. I loved it.
Yes. So, where can people find you? You have all kinds of goodies online and you have a Facebook group and all that. So,
Yes, I do. So I'm online on Facebook. I don't have a website. I literally run my entire coaching business. Everything is with ease. I do everything with ease. I run everything from a Facebook group called the Fierce Feminine Sisterhood. I'm on Instagram, the Fierce Feminine Coach. I have courses. I am a wealth consciousness coach, but also a business mentor. So I help online coaches build their business with ease and flow from the feminine energy. I am not about chasing leads and lead generation and structure and all that. I'm all about getting into your own magic and magnetizing people to you. So you can find me online.
all right. And your Facebook group is called the Fierce Feminine Sisterhood,
Uh-huh.
right?
Fierce
All right.
Feminine Sisterhood. Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you so much again, Victoria.
You are so welcome, Jada. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, guys, for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please pop over to your favorite podcasting platform and leave a positive review. I would appreciate it so much. Have a good day, guys. Namaste.